What's up, my Finan loves? It's Miss Finan D coming to you all from Entertainment News. Okay, so I do have other stories about other people coming up. Okay, it's not just all about Kenya Moore, but before I completely wipe out Kenya Moore content, like her pictures and things like that from my software, and move on to those other topics, I saw this video and I figure, you know what? She finally provided a clear answer on the status of her marriage, and we just talked about that on her real interview. She was on the real and she talked about her marriage, but they did not spend too much time on it. Part one of this interview with Bryce from ET Entertainment Tonight, she broke it down for us. So put me on pause, okay? Go ahead and click the very first link in the description below, watch the interview, and then come back. Let's talk about it. Well, welcome back. Okay. He basically talked about, what 49 looks like, for Kenya. And she was like, if she had a vision board, then, a successful marriage, Brooklyn being healthy, lots of love, expanding her businesses, and fun, okay? So because she brought up her marriage, he basically stayed on that, Speaking of a marriage, he talked about how, they were in love and on Tamara Hall's show, and then, a day or so after that, they were announcing, separation and divorce and all of that. And Kenya revealed something that, most people did not know. She and her husband had an argument. We knew that, okay, because there was rumors going around. But he released the statement in the midst of being angry, okay? So it wasn't, my wife and I had a moment. Let me calm down, breathe, count to 10. We'll see what happens tomorrow. In a moment of being mad, he went ahead and released a statement, okay? And so Kenya basically said their lack of communication is so terrible that, she was just chilling. We had an argument. We're going to have a few days to think about things and talk about it like normal couples do. And then, boom, she's hit with a Mark Daly and Kenya Moore releasing a statement about, divorce and separation. That's why his statement read separation and her statement read divorce, because it was almost like, oh, so let me get this straight, okay? I walked away from a possible, million plus wedding special, and I went and got married. So that's money that I walked out on. I walked out on a possible, million plus baby special. And then because of me walking away and getting married and not on TV, the network got upset and tried to play me. And because I know my worth, I quit, okay? And it was a blessing in disguise anyways, because I needed to be healthy for Brooklyn, okay? So the quitting part made sense, but it all happened because of the whole wedding situation. So I give up, and then plus her regular season salary. Okay, so she gave up all of that to make her marriage and relationship work, and it still wasn't enough, right? Based on what we've seen on TV, if we're going off that, it's almost like she's walking on eggshells in her relationship. It's almost like they can't just have a moment where they're simply just joking and having fun. It's, I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's just too uptight. And ain't nobody got time for that and want to live that way, where everything is so uptight you don't even know if you're going to say the wrong thing and he's going to get upset. I'm sure if it was that bad, Kenya would have been gone a long time ago, okay? I get it, it's editing and all of those things. But if we're going off what we've seen, it's too uptight. So she's thinking to herself, wait a minute, you've also been acting a fool on TV. And if you've been in relationships, that's one of the most embarrassing things, to have a disagreement in public and in front of people with your spouse. It's embarrassing. Who want to go through that? So the reason why Kenya been quiet a lot is not so much because of, oh, she's submissive and he's controlling and she's being emotionally abused and all of that, right? And even if she's being submissive to her husband, kudos to her. But my thing is, Who wants to fight with their husband, the father of their child, in front of everybody or on TV? So Kenya basically be in the headspace of make it stop. So if I keep talking back, it's just going to drag this thing. So you know what? Let the man have his moment. Let him have his moment. I'm just going to be quiet and just make it stop. In the places where she knew that he was completely wrong, she stood up for herself. She made sure she reminded him that my house is paid for. You met me with all of the things that I have now. So what is the problem? So so she stood up for herself where it counted. But Mark wanting to just pick arguments for no reason, she's like, I'm not going to join you in that because it's not going to make no sense. But I'm sure once the camera went off, I'm sure she let him have it and they had their moment. So I know that it wasn't just one argument and boom, he ran to the media and released a statement of separation. I know they've had arguments over and over again that led him to, you know what, I can't do this anymore. But when you're in a partnership, you're in a marriage and all of that, you don't just make rash decisions like that. So I'm wishing them all of the blessings with their future counseling and all of that, because that's a huge red flag that the moment it got rough or an argument happened, you're talking about leaving your family. I know, of course, Mark is still going to be there for Brooklyn and all of that. But yeah, you can't go running away and doing all that every time it gets rough. Now, I completely understand allegedly why his first marriage lasted a year. A marriage, in order for you to be successful, is work. No one is telling anyone to stay in a toxic relationship. But now I understand why the last one didn't work for him, because you have to do the work in order to come out on the other side where 20, 30 years later, yeah, on the porch somewhere smiling and yes, child, we made it. It's a lot of work that goes into it. Now, if it gets to the point where it's just toxic and it's bad and the arguments are turning into emotional abuse, absolutely leave. But at least try. And that's what Kenya is doing. So the fact that she said that Mark did all of these things as far as releasing the statement, now I see why she released her statement. Heck, you put me through all of this. I lost all this money plus what you're doing on TV. I didn't run. I stayed because I believe in us. And you want to talk about separation? Heck nah, I want a divorce. And that's why her statement said divorce and his says separation. Now she's talking about they're better friends, they're separated, but they're doing good and she still loves him. And so she's optimistic because they are better friends now. Now it makes sense why she was in the hotel in this video.
Thank you. You can take a turn and then you'll give it back. Bang it up, bang it up. Come back here. Come back here. I want that. You just showed me a picture. I want that back right now. Because you said you gotta give it back. Listen to the music and get it back.
And not at his house. I completely understand. Don't, do that whole, I'm going to come at the house and we're going to play house when nothing is set in stone. So I love that she's putting her foot down. We're going to do the work. We're going to go to counseling. And my thing is, once you do all of that and it still doesn't work, you can move on knowing, you know what? I just didn't throw in the towel. I worked for it. I invested my time. I went to counseling. I gave up my career. I did all of these things and it still wasn't enough. So you know what? Have a nice life. I tried. So kudos to Kenya for wanting to try. I hope, based on what I'm hearing, with her saying that they're working on communication, they're better friends and all of that, that he's also willing to try. And it looks like he is. Because when you make such a rash decision to separate, you will be at the courthouse the next day filing for a divorce and running far away from this person. But Mark have not filed for divorce yet, and Kenya Moore is not something that she wanted anyways based on what she revealed in that interview. So it looks like he just wants to work on it. But I love that she's standing her ground and saying, look, I bought my beautiful house in Atlanta. I am not letting my house go. You know, I am not renting my house. You know, she might, you never know. But I'm not letting my big yard and my big house go to stay somewhere in New York where I barely have a place for my daughter to run around. Okay? So it looks like Mark did this as like a fear tactic. You know, I'm going to put this statement out and she's going to quit everything and pack up her things and come running. And she was like, do you know who I am? I'm Kenya Moore. Do you know how old I am? Yeah. Do you know how many years I waited before I said yes and actually said yes and went through with a marriage? Meaning I've been standing on my own 2 feet for a long time, dude. So with or without you, I will still be Kenya Moore and I'll be good. So it's either you get on board and we work on this thing and be a family and all of that, or I will have no problems, you know, telling you to have a nice life. So she said, absolutely not. It will not be in New York. It will be in Atlanta. Well, she didn't say Atlanta, but she said it will not be in New York. Okay? So he's going to have to make that compromise, you know, and even if he decides to, you know, still keep his place in New York, because the businesses are out there, she said at least they won't be apart for longer than a week. That works. Okay. So that's that. She talked about, you know, being vulnerable. They are amazing co-parents who already know that. She talked about being vulnerable, basically letting go of your ego. And we already know her husband have his ego. Okay. So I love that, you know, just putting it all on the table and just having that deep communication and working on it. And sometimes the two of you can't do it and you need that mediator. So counseling would definitely work for them. And like I said, counseling could work in a way where it's like, you know what, after all of this, I've realized that we are amazing co-parents and better off as friends, have a nice life. Or we realize that, yes, we still love each other and we are willing to work towards, you know, getting back together. But what I do respect is that, and as much as love is there between the both of them and nobody have filed for divorce yet, she didn't run back. She's taking her time. You did this, and the reason why you did this, we need to fix it, because jumping right back into it because I want to just run back to love, and we're not divorced. You're still my husband. I'm still wearing my ring. Let's fix the issue and make sure that when we do reunite, okay, and when we do sit there and make an announcement that we are back together and we're working on it, that we are really going to do our best to make it work. And it's not going to be, oh, you said something that pissed me off, so I'm going to run to the media and talk about a divorce. Part 2 of the interview is coming up, but I did see a sneak peek, and I've been saying this over and over again. Kenya was laughing and she said, of course, I'm not going to go to someone's event in real life with a drum line, okay? But on a reality TV show, absolutely. Didn't I say that? It's all for the show and for entertainment. Because like I said over and over again, there's no one who's been in Kenya's life for years have ever put her on blast on social media for being this terrible friend or this terrible person. Never seen that, okay? She still got her friends of 30 plus years. So she talked about that whole incident in Milo, and I'm sure we'll see more of the interview in part 2, but I just wanted to focus on what she had to say about her marriage and about, you know, Brooklyn being her joy. And, you know, so that's amazing. Like even in the moment through everything she's going through, where she should be upset and just depressed and crying and all of that, she said, how can I even be that? You know, I'm very strong, which is true. And Brooklyn is my joy. And, you know, that's why Brooklyn's a very happy baby. And we know that. So yeah, that was, we learned a lot and we got the clear status of their situation. They are separated. They are good friends. They are amazing co-parents. They still love each other, and they will be going to counseling very soon, and that she's very optimistic that, you know, they will be moving on in a positive direction. So for those of you who were guessing and all of that, there's your answer. Nia also said that she's open to having more children, and she's been very open about that, whether it is, you know, her carrying a child or via a surrogate. She says she's open to that as well. I mean, it's no different than what I've been saying. a possibility of reconciliation, but right now it's still up in the air. That's basically Kenya just coming out of her mouth and confirming it, but we didn't know who did what. It was just two statements, but her husband was the one who threw in the towel first, and it wasn't her, and she's committed to making her marriage work. The counseling and all of that, they can work on that. I mean, Lord. That's why you see people get married so many times. If you are throwing in the towel because you guys had an argument, child, what are you gonna do when something deeper happens? It's a marriage. Anyways, wishing them the best. The end of here, my Fina loves. Thank you all for your love and support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and leave this video a thumbs up. Also turn on notifications so when I do post, you're aware that I posted. And I will see you all in the comment section. Remember to always have the God bless attitude, which is being positive at all times and seeing the good in every situation. Have a great day, guys. God bless.